This is General Abdulsalami Abubakar, considered a patriot of democracy in Nigeria. He was made the head of state after the demise of Sani Abacha. He served as the head of state from 9 June 1998 to 29 May 1999. He facilitated the transition from military rule to democracy and handed over power to the first democratic elected president, Olusegun Obasanjo, in 1999. He granted an exclusive interview in the Sun newspaper titled "Why Nigeria is in a Mess." The highlight of the interview is vile threats to the Nigerian government. He was asked what caused military coup in West Africa and Nigeria at large. Why do the men in khaki get dissatisfied with the government in their country and overthrow an elected democratic leader with the barrel of the gun rather than popular vote? He emphatically said this in quotes, "You see, whatever happens, it must be the political field that allows any military man to take over. When you are in a government and there is no equity and justice, certainly this brings problem. You have a political party, and even in that political party one belongs to, there is no democracy. So certainly you will expect some quivers, some quarrels to come out. If they are not handled amicably, certainly this will result to military takeover. Remember, there is no military man that takes over without the connivance and assistance of politicians and civilians." If you know Abdulsalami Abubakar, you know he's a pure breed general who knows the working in the military. He has been involved in brokering peace deal in Nigeria and some West African countries that have been taken over by military juntas. He made this kind of statement when he visited the coup leader that overthrew Niger President Bazoum. He told them that it is the action and failure of politicians to deliver good governance to the people that evoke military men to take over power. If politicians are delivering on their promise to deliver good government and make life better and comfortable for the people, no one would think of military coup. In fact, military coup is popular in Nigeria and Africa as a whole because of bad leadership. With good leadership, military coup will not be popular. Even the said military in Nigeria are dissatisfied with the government. They are saying that they haven't been paid their allowance. These are boys in the front line fighting to ward off external and internal attack in the country. They sacrifice their lives and comfort, and yet they are being owed allowance, whereas politicians sitting comfortably in their well-air-conditioned AC earning bogus salaries. For proper understanding, take a look at the salaries of a senator and House of Rep members whose only function since they assume office is budget padding, approving bogus loan for the president, passing a bill to bring back an old national anthem that has no meaningful impact in the life of the citizens, and most of it all, getting a 160 million SUV car. This is the problem we are talking about, and this is the problem that Abdulsalami Abubakar is talking about. There is no equity and justice in the system. People who do tedious and riskier work fight to keep the country safe. Some even lose their life in the process. We earn peanuts. A soldier in Nigeria earns nothing less than 50k. On top of this, his allowances are being owed, while someone who sits in the office with a pen earn more, while also looting in the process. To add salt to injury, they do this in a brazen manner and nothing will happen to them. No one hold them accountable, and no justice is being served to them for stealing and looting the treasury dry. They go as far as using the same stolen money to contest for elective office. If they do not win the election, they use the stolen money to buy the INEC officials, they buy the security operative, buy the judges to legalize their criminality. They do all this and more in an attempt to increase their stealing and looting spree. The problem we have in Africa is that many politicians lack leadership qualities. They don't understand anything about good governance. Their motive on being elected into public office is self-aggrandized. It's not like there is no corruption in other countries. There is. At least these corrupt politicians in other countries are held responsible for their corrupt practices. You see how politicians are being executed in faraway China, and many are going to jail in Europe. But politicians in Africa, they've taken corruption to a disproportionate level instead of prioritizing national interests and working for the betterment of the people. Look at Nigeria in the 70s and in the 80s. There was corruption then, but it wasn't noticeable because life was easy. The moment you are graduating from school, You have jobs offer waiting for you to choose from. It was easier to start a family then and live comfortably with your family. Many Nigerians were traveling from Nigeria to UK just to attend nightclub. It was that easy, coupled with the fact that you don't need a visa then to travel to the United Kingdom. All you need is dust your bag, take your bag to the airport, board the available flight and jet out to London, attend club, go shopping and return back to your country safely. The naira had so much value then. With as little as 10 naira, you could fill your large bag on a grocery shopping. Everything has been eroded. Today, Nigerians are barely living, eating from hand to mouth. This is due to the fact that the people that are in charge of the administration in this country don't understand governance. They steal all the money for themselves, no reinvestment for future generation. How can a politician hold power for 8 solid good years and won't improve the life of the citizens? No meaningful economic variables, no development, nothing for a good solid 8 years. This can only happen in Africa and in Nigeria. It can never happen in Europe, Western or the Asian countries. It's only in Africa that you will see incompetent people who cannot improve the system better than they met it, insist on staying in power even beyond the constitutional stipulated time. And the worst of it is that the people will tolerate it. That is why there is problem in Africa and a constant surge in military takeover. This cannot happen in people's company. No company will allow this to happen. Let's take for instance, you hire an MD and the MD keep making policies that keep making the company to lose profits. Will the company or the shareholder tolerate the incompetence of that MD? Absolutely no. They will fire him or her and get a competent MD that will take the company to a greater height. Then why do people tolerate politicians who play with their life and waste their future? These same politicians take loans that is meant for development projects, loot it dry. Worst of it, these same loans will be repairable in the far future, which will be paid by the next generation. And yet you see people tolerating this level of recklessness. You will even hear them making excuses for the person's failure. They will be like, he inherited a bad government. Was he not aware that the government or the economy was bad before taking over? You also hear them say, let him finish his tenure and leave. Another person will come and fix whatever he has spoiled. That was how these same people tolerated Buhari for 8 years, who took the third fastest growing economy in the world in 2015 and ran it into 2 recessions, thereby grounding the economy. Tinubu has taken over. Rather than fixing it as the people expected, he made it worse while turning around to blame his predecessor. As you can see, Abdulsalami is right. All the injustice and lack of equitable distribution of the nation's resources will definitely aggravate the military, which may lead to a military takeover. Don't be deceived by the fact that we have enjoyed uninterrupted democracy for 25 years, which of course is the longest in our history. If this level of recklessness and injustice persists, it may trigger the military. After all, West African countries currently under military rule were enjoying uninterrupted democratic rule before the military took over. So you don't know what may happen because people are suffering terribly and the soldiers are not even excluded from the sufferings. How can you owe the soldiers that is serving the country in the war front salaries? This is cruelty and risky. And sometimes when these soldiers complain, they are being locked up by the military command. You have seen cases where soldiers have openly lamented about their salaries being owed and how they are unable to visit their families due to the cost of transportation. This can definitely trigger a coup. History has shown that most military coups were carried out by aggrieved junior soldiers.
Nigeria may give me pass as I do 1 year for my duty today. I they give me pass, make I go and visit my family. My way to as I come out for bush now I reach park. They tell me say from here to my town 35,000. Now I come calculate 35,000 going and come back, that is 70,000. And 50,000 my salary where they pay me for this month. But me I not give option again. I go back to bush.